Hey, y'all, welcome to Challenge Accepted, the podcast where we challenge each other to a new movie or TV show every week. I am Frank, and I'm joined by Thomas.
Hello, everybody. We are jumping into episode 6 of The Last of Us, The Price. What did you think about this episode?
This was kind of a little breather before we hit the finale, and we got to revisit Joel. And if you're a game player, I feel like this might be the most directly pulled from the game, story-wise, dialogue-wise, and then anything else. There were lines that were word for word. And then we got the infamous porch scene, which I had accidentally alluded to earlier in the season when we were discussing this, which shouldn't be till late next season, but is here now. And I think that's good that we got everybody to kind of like fill in some of the backstory a little bit.
No, it was really good. I know the space scene from the games. I didn't play it again, but that scene, I was curious to see how they were going to do it. I think they absolutely landed it. But the porch scene was so important. It was what Christina needed to see. My wife, who doesn't know anything about this world or doesn't even care to play the video games, and that's fine. But this one, it was like she needed this one, and I think I did too. I gotta say, like the last episode, the more I had time to think about it, the more I realized like how irritated I was kind of getting with Ellie. And I think even in this episode, I was kind of getting irritated with her a lot as well. But to see her and Joel again together in that dynamic is unmatched. It's so good.
Let's analyze that a little bit. Let's open that up because I think I understand what you're coming from this. The irritation with Ellie, we've been talking offline, of course. The way she delivers lines, the way that she's told to deliver lines, let's be honest, like is everything's written more jokingly in the show than compared to over there. And she's also harsher in other ways too than she is in the game too. Like in the game, she's kind of lost her spirit, so she doesn't have this personality that she has in the show. Is there anything else?
Okay. Yeah, I think so. It's just like she still seems like a kid to me. So as she's going on and her and Dina are going through Seattle and they're like trying to act like badasses and adults, like don't get me wrong. That last scene in the last episode where she corners the girl down in the basement with the spores and then she has the pipe. Yeah. It was brutal. But there was some part of me that was like, I don't know, it just feels kind of forced. And then also I saw people trolling this line. I didn't mind it when I first watched it, but the more I watched it, more I was like, maybe it was not delivered so well, which is like, I'm going to be a dad. Like, I don't know, something about that
was very cringy.
It was a little cringe. Yeah, it was. Yeah. But totally I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Bella Ramsey. I think this episode reminded me how good of an actor Bella Ramsey really is, because you see that relationship again, getting back to the porch, and you're like, holy crap, she's phenomenal, or they're phenomenal. They crushed it.
Yeah, the porch scene, there's 3 people crying, both of them and me. It's such a beautiful scene, and it touches back to why she put coffee beans on that. That's what I was referencing beforehand. She put coffee beans on his grave because remember, he worked really hard to get those coffee beans. He was embarrassed. I mean, like all that is line from the game. It's fantastic.
Wow.
And she had confirmation from him, and the idea that these moths represent death, and she even scribbled it down on one of the things is like, she had purpose in her death. She could have cured this whole thing. And Joel took that purpose away from her because he was selfish and he just couldn't do that to another daughter. So it's like one of those things where it's like, I need you to forgive me. She'll never forget of him, but they're going to try. And it makes so much more sense that like what we had beforehand, push Seth down, ignore him on the porch is what it seemed like. The next morning she's telling Jesse, oh, we're fine. We'll work it out. And then like they never talk again or whatever, but that we were missing a gap there. This filled that gap in quite a bit.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I loved it. I think it was done really, really well. I don't know if it's like that in the game per se, but man, it absolutely killed it. But I want to kind of even go back to the beginning because I think it's pretty cool. They even said it in the end credit scene talking about it had never came up for Craig that they would go to Joel's childhood. And I thought that was so like actually really well done because we had to see him being a hero, standing up for his little brother. And then his dad, who is a conflicted man, like he obviously wasn't a good person per se, but he was maybe trying to do his best. And, that conversation is like, you'll understand, when you're my age or when you're in my situation and, you just want to do better than the generation before. And that one hit me really hard because I think that I have that relationship with my dad a lot. Like I love him, appreciate him and all he's done for me. But I think as I've gotten older, I've seen things that where he went left, where I'm like, I'm never going down that road. I'm taking a hard right. And so I think that was a really cool kind of segue for this episode to show when Joel does become a dad, how he handles things differently, or at least tries to, you know, and man, yeah, when he delivers that on the porch, oof, hopefully you do better than the next generation or whatever, or better than me. That hit hard.
And that makes you question, will Ellie be a better quote unquote dad? As she had said, I'll be a dad. Reference back to that cringe line. Will she do better than Joel? And who knows, without spoiling anything, who knows? But yeah, if we look back at, first off, his dad clearly was a vigilante in New York, a swordsman, I would say. It was good to see the actor come back.
It was good. It was weird to see him as like a serious actor. And I know
100%.
I know he's a good actor. Like I've heard people say he's amazing in this and this. Yeah. But it was weird to see him. Yeah, but the tears that well up in his eye, as the swordsman actor, God, he's phenomenal. I want to see him in more things too. And what an inspired choice to make him Pedro Pascal's dad from back in the day. I'm like, I could see it. It was great. Yeah,
it worked really well. Now I'm wanting him to be in Dorne and a Game of Thrones spinoff too, like we were talking about with everybody else. But yeah, I think carrying that forward, and then in the after show thing, they talked about the savior complex that Joel puts on himself, or basically he's going to sacrifice himself because it's the only thing that makes him feel any better, and that could actually put things in harm or danger. And then the way he treats Tommy in that sense, he protects Tommy this whole time. So if you look back at the game, where remember in the game, Tommy leaves first and the girls go follow to find Tommy. That's why they leave, not to go get revenge. And it kind of makes this thing where it's like, this is Tommy. He couldn't protect Joel like Joel's always protected him. And if you think of that sense, it's like, I have to fix this. And that's why he's so desperate to get out there. I believe at that point too, like Tommy's even missing an eye at that point in the game, I believe. And so he's like beaten, but not stopped.
Right. Dang, that is still pretty good. Like, I think that's the thing. It's so tricky. It's like, was it better in the game or is it better here? Right. And the more you know about the game, I think the more it makes you want to compare. I've kind of just like accepted where it's at. It is weird that we haven't seen Tommy again, knowing that he was so pivotal at this point in the game. But, again, kind of jumping back to this episode, I love that it just kind of establishes him as he's always his brother's keeper, and that it makes so much sense as he goes along, and even the day of outbreak when Tommy comes back, breaks in, he's like, hey, we gotta go. Why Tommy would go to him. It's just nice to see these brothers that close, and they have been for so long, but it does make it kind of weird in the show that he doesn't go out with Ellie. Or first, even.
First. Yeah, he's out there now. And it's so weird not to get into too much. I don't want to say the game had 30 hours per game to explore. And we get 10 hours at best, 8 hours or whatever it is for the season. So that's why so much of it is pruned down and, whatever. And you can't just show people walking around in scenes. But what I'm seeing from the previews of the next episode, I'm like, isn't that the finale of the entire game? It's really weird that they're doing this. There's a certain thing that's happening. I'm like, wait a minute, that's when she has that flashback to the boat or to the porch. So I'm a little confused. Okay. And then I'm thinking also where's Abby been this whole time? We haven't seen any Abby scenes. So I think the third season, they're shuffling things around. The third season is going to be a lot more Abby, and it's going to be a lot more of Tommy, because Tommy is a very important character. They're just not utilizing him right now. It's weird. So I think they're shoving those off, letting Joel have his moment.
Right. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, where the heck is Abby? I thought she was such a big part of the video game. We get that, really intense scenes with her in the first couple episodes, and then she's just gone. I'm like, what the? And then to think that we only have one more episode, a 7-episode season, I'm sorry, that's bad.
It's not enough. Yeah.
It's not enough. It needs at least 8 episodes. We're getting into Marvel Disney Plus territory, where it's like, that didn't work, and it's not enough time for the amount of characters that you have, and then you took time to establish, yes, we need more Abby, we need more Tommy, we need more of these other things. But again, I'm going to go back and just say this episode, though, might have been my second favorite episode of the season. It was still so phenomenal. Pedro just kind of showing his care throughout the episodes, remembering her birthday, trying to get her birthday cake every year. We go to, like you were saying, the flashback in the game. He takes her to see the dinosaur and the astronaut scene. And I think this deserves its own little kind of section for us. What did you think about the astronaut scene?
Yeah, it's a beautiful scene. Again, they talk about it in the post thing, but like all the lighting is exactly as it is in the game, and the moment is the same. It's nice just to see these bonding moments that, like the birthday as a storytelling device is such a cool thing because it's also like how they started the show too was with the daughter and the birthday, his real
Oh
daughter.
yeah.
So it's cool to kind of come back to that. And then
Yeah.
to see like the progression of even Jackson as a whole, as they're there, like in the beginning, Seth can't make a cake. But after a few years, Seth can make a cake. It's kind of like Jackson itself is becoming more and more of a real city as they go,
Right.
as they stay there and stuff, as Joel has his impact. And yes, that astronaut scene, it's just a beautiful scene. And playing it in the game too, it's just like my mom's watching the show, right? And she keeps telling me every time I go and I watch it with her because there's things that I fill in the gap for, and that's the same thing with the Game of Thrones or whatever.
Yeah.
And she keeps stopping. She's like, I can't believe this is a video game. And it's like,
Yeah.
when you see a scene like this, you're like, yeah, that's a video game. And it's weird that they allow something like that, so beautiful and like letting you breathe in the emotions in a video
Right.
game. It's not Mario jumping anymore, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like we're constantly saying that to the older generations who
Yeah.
have not played video games, right? And but kids growing up, like they know video games
Oh,
power
yeah.
and storytelling, right? And yeah, this is it. But I think it's on full display with these actors too. And it reminded me of why I fell in love with this show in the first place,
Mhm.
which is seeing the relationship between Ellie and Joel. And now that they're on good terms and that they've, already moved past all the craziness that was season one, just to see him just do whatever he can to make her feel happy. And it's
Yeah.
just like this beautiful, yeah, moment, and it's totally this father daughter thing. But whether she'll ever realize how much he did for her, cared for her, he just year in and year out just tried to give her the best life he could and just make her happy. And God, I just think Pedro he did it so well.
He did it
I don't
so
know who
well.
else you
Just
put in this.
when they're in the capsule and he like looks over at her and you just see the faint smile on his face, and it's just like, man, this guy has so little peace, and it's really beautiful. I want to throw in there too, at this moment too, he's kind of being selfish because he just wants those good moments and he's not telling her the truth. And Ellie
Mhm.
this entire time is continuously doubting him. And as we're seeing the birthdays go by, and of course she's growing up, he's also realizing more and more that there's just too many plot holes in this story that she was told. So it's
Yeah.
right now it's innocent, but then as she's getting older, she's also starting to get wiser to the situation, and that puts a strain on the relationship beyond just being a teenager and a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Yeah. She just feels that there's something there. Yeah, you're right. I mean, literally, it's just plot holes. And she's like, wait, there was raiders? Wait, there was
Yeah.
how many people there? Wait, there was other immune people? Wait, there was, it's like there's just too many holes in the story. As you get older, it's like what we were talking about, like you start looking at your parents and you start thinking about some of the things they did for you when you were younger.
Yeah.
And then some of it was like, oh, like I understand why they said that, but that wasn't true. Maybe they were trying to protect me or whatever. And this is very much the case. Like she's just waking up and realizing, wait, the things he's saying is not true.
Right.
And she keeps reminding him too. Man, yeah, I was kind of annoyed with her in a lot of this episode, except for when she was at the, again, at the museum. I really loved that. But as she got older and older and started, finding out who she was and pushing the boundaries of things, when she snaps at him, with the girl in the room getting tattooed, and there's just a lot for him to process, and I don't know. I just feel like it just go easy on the guy, but what fully ends up
Right.
making her realize and pushes her to the point of you're lying to me is seeing what happens with Eugene. And
Of course.
I kind of get it on her side. I think this was the moment in the story where I kind of shifted away from like, Ellie's the worst too, but she's kind of right. Like she made him count to 10. He holds his hands. He was going to get tied up. All he wanted to do was be outside the gate to say bye to Gail. Like maybe they could have made it. Maybe they should have tried. And we see the birds fly up. She comes back and she's like, you swore to me. And I don't blame
Beautiful.
her at that point. It's like, you should have maybe gave him a shot.
That you swore to me to what? Is it to saving Eugene, or was it because he didn't kill the fireflies? Like she
Right.
sees in that look, I've seen that look before. That promise,
Right.
it's not true. And this time she has evidence that he lied this time, which
Mhm.
means he probably lied the last time she saw that look. And so that you swore to me what was that too? And it was so well done. I threw it out on our threads and just being like, man, that was delivered well too. And just everybody's crying. It's really well done.
Oh man, yeah. This is a tearjerker in so many ways, like poor Eugene never gets to say bye to his wife, and then Gail, like, but there's that moment where Joel lies to Gail, and you're like, he did it, like she doesn't know, Ellie, just shut up, keep it in, and she can't, and she tells the truth because of what you were saying too. I think she has to let the truth out at this point. And man, yeah, that just leads to so much. But it was also nice to see the night of the first episode from Joel's perspective, and to see Ellie with Jesse, then see Ellie with Dina, then Ellie with I forgot what the big and old man is, Seth. Yeah, but then also what Tommy's wife says to him too is very sweet. Actually, it's very nice. It was like he knew he was cared about in that community. So like that's the other nice thing, where it wasn't. You just don't know what state Joel's in at the beginning of the season and how people see him. But you slowly get that so many people really cared about him, and obviously Ellie the most. And this conversation that we kind of talked about a little bit on the porch just kind of comes full circle. And like, yes, we needed that to give us a little bit of peace on what happens to him.
So in context of the game, just to kind of give everybody a little bit of a grounding of where we're at here. And what I would really like to hear too is what are your thoughts? What are your wife's thoughts on this moment too? Because glancing what happened in the game, she doesn't know anything. So I'd like to hear from that as well. But I'll throw this out there. So this moment, right before Ellie makes a huge decision that is basically like her entire focus is on this one decision, she stops and thinks back to this moment. So it's, far back in her memory. And it's a moment we never see in the game up until that point. And then that answers the question that Joel did tell her, that she, lied, or that the fireflies didn't have a cure, yada, yada, yada. And, yeah. So the fact that they're telling us this now is, I think, a way for them to kind of just close the Joel story now, instead of leaving that question and it being the penultimate move of Ellie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Cause it is one of those things that just keeps haunting you, and especially at the end of the last episode, it's like, is she just harsh because she's evil, or is she harsh because she was in such a good place with her dad in the final moment, and then that quickly just got ripped away from her? And it makes, I think, for me, that last episode a lot better. So I'm glad that they gave it to us here. I think it's wonderful. It's, again, though, it's so hard to, like, the show is just better with Joel in it. For me.
Absolutely, 100%.
It is, and I understand why all these gamers would be so bummed about it. It's like, it's a bold move. It's a bold story choice. I commend them on that, but like, I guess, I mean, that's a choice you made. You could have done other things, but whatever. It's in the past. I know if there's so many gamers that's like, we've already gotten over it, dude.
Oh, there's a lot of processing. I got phone calls when this happened in the game. And yeah, Joel's really good in the way that he makes Ellie seem. Ellie seems like the defiant daughter. Like all the asshole stuff that she does, I mean, frankly, are things that I would do at that age, right? When you're stupid, young, and horny, that's all you think about is stupid things. And for her, that makes sense. But when she's on her own, now we're trying to entrust all of Joel's personality, his character, the leader, onto her, and she's still that stupid kid. So it doesn't blend well, and it's really hard. That's why I wish we had Tommy a little bit more, so that there's somebody who is a little bit of that Joel in the scene.
Yeah, totally. Or, I mean, if they really want to line up Abby as that person, like, we should have been cutting more to Abby. Like, not in this episode. Again, I love this episode. I think it was like just perfect in the way it was constructed, and the way they kind of moved through time in this episode, showing 1 year, then 2 years, then 9 months before the act. It's like, it really carries you through. You see her maturing. You see her going through all the steps you go through as a teenager, and like you were saying. And so, like, I think all that was really done, really well done. I liked how they also showed her the burn with why she got the tattoo. I the sympathy from him, or as a father looking at like the daughter, like, oh man, like, how could you let this happen? Tommy's like, I let what happen? Like, she's a grown up adult. Like, I just put her arm right there, all of that was just so well done. And yeah, I just think they really, if they want us to have that Joel-like person, and if Abby was supposed to be that villain, we need to see a lot more of Abby.
I think I said Abby instead of Ellie. I meant Ellie earlier. I keep messing that up, the two names, because they're very interchangeable in the game because you play as Abby as well, which is really crazy that we don't have her a lot in this season because you play as her in the game. So that's why I think they're basically taking her story and shoving it to season 3, which will make that season worse for sure.
Yeah, it's a bold choice. We'll see if it pays off. Because I can say I don't know what the ratings are. I didn't look at like IMDb for the last couple episodes, but I can imagine they're probably on the lower end of how this show has been rated. And it's not because Bella Ramsey's not a good actress. It's not because Isabel Merced is not a good actress. Like there was also some cool things in those episodes, but there was just some things that you're just like, I come to the show expecting one thing, and I feel like I'm getting something different. And this episode was kind of a return to form where it was like this guy who, he made a horrible choice. It was a horrible choice either way, but he made his decision. He tells her too, again, going back to the porch, like if I had the chance to do it all again, I would do it all over again. And I bet this speaks to so many parents out there that were like, I don't care. The world be damned. Like my child comes first. And he just delivers that so well with the shaking and just kind of the nonverbal interaction he's having. He's just literally just saying so much in his facial expressions. Man, yeah, wow, that was good.
Yes. By the way, this reminds me, there's a very good episode of Fandom Portals, brother of the podcast, where you're on it and you guys are talking about Big Fish and you guys talk about fatherhood and stuff like that. So I suggest you guys check that out. It's Fandom Portals, Big Fish. Thomas is guesting on it. We talked about Big Fish here too, if you want to listen to that too. But now let's reflect on your wife. How does she look at these scenes? And how does she think that The Last of Us is going completely new to this story?
Completely new. She really hated last week's episodes.
Yeah.
She didn't care for it. This one though, I think it broke her because she just watched him do all these things like fix the guitar, try to get the cake, take her to her favorite place. And at every corner, she is being that annoying teenager who's just rebelling. And it's like, no, don't you see what he's trying to do for you? Like wake up in the middle of the night, pulling her mattress out in the pouring rain. And he's like, listen, I'll help you, but just feel how heartbroken he would be. And she's constantly reminding him too throughout the episode, like, you're not my dad. And that is just an unnecessary low blow. And so I think she was picking up on that. She was even mad when Ellie was mad at him when he was telling everything to Gail. And then when he was sitting down Eugene, she was like, he's right. She's like, don't bring Eugene back. That's danger to everybody. And I'm like, yes, he is making like the smart choice for the community, but it also is like, maybe give the guy a shot. Like both you and Ellie are pretty good at taking down like infected. Maybe just drag him behind the horse, see what happens, like he might be able to make it and say goodbye. So I wonder
if he thinks like cold black and white like his dad did. I think now that we had a little bit more of his dad, the cop that treated him a certain way, I wonder if he's super black and white and like how the dad's saying, I hope you're better than me. It's kind of like, I hope you are more open. And then even Joel is saying that to Ellie. Is like, I hope you're not as closed off black and white as me. I hope you see the morally gray and can play in there. Because for me, I'm selfish. I need things a certain way. We have the rules. And I wonder if he's pleading for Ellie to be different in that way too.
Yeah, I like that. I think that's a good way to look at it. He's shown so much complexity in his person. When you meet guys like this in real life, you're like, oh, they just want to drink beer, play the guitar, watch baseball, like very simple characteristics. Oh yeah. And you're like, this is this kind of guy. But I think what he's showing is like, there's so many different elements to us, right? Like just because it looks wide doesn't mean it's not deep. Like just because you see a puddle doesn't mean it doesn't go 4 feet down. Right. And I think that's what he's conveying with this character. And I love it. I just think he's done such a good job and he's given so much depth to this guy who just seems so stoic. And he is, but he's not. And you're right. I think he is telling Ellie, like, open up more than I am.
Yeah. I will say he is exactly like that in the game too. Troy Baker plays him in the game. A god amongst voice actors. So good. And he also nails that too. So that is Joel. It's a very good character. And even, by the way, I want to throw this out there too. A lot of actors I fall in love with are just playing themselves, right? Everybody loves Bruce Willis when he's Die Hard, but he's that all the time. But I will say, when you listen to Joel in character, and then when you listen to Pedro Pascal talk about Joel, you're like, oh, you can tell the difference. There is acting there. So I want to throw that out there.
100%. Yeah. In the after show too, where
Yeah.
Craig is telling all of them, like, this is such an important scene, like clapping. And then Pedro says, you guys are all the best. You're like, that is Pedro. He's so like,
Yeah.
he's higher. He like speaks in a higher tone. He's like more
Right.
friendly, more just,
Mhm.
yeah. I'm like, damn, he is incredible. He's a generational talent. I'm glad the rest of the world gets to see this and we get to be the beneficiaries, man. It'd be a dream guest talking to that guy.
By the way, that's his last scene of the show is the astronaut scene. How nice is that to be the final thing you filmed for The Last of Us?
Wow. Do you think they're not going to bring him back in season 3 for any flashbacks?
They did it. That's what the porch was for. They're done.
Really?
There's nothing else. You just use the guitar. You don't have to pay Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll see. They gotta really sell me on this finale then. Is that
it is interesting. I mean, Abby has to pop up. I mean, that doesn't make any
Right.
sense. And then season 3, there's so much Abby story that's going to be a lot of Abby. So if you guys didn't like her so far, which is weird because I can't imagine for somebody like your wife who doesn't know the story at all, or is like, where the is this girl that killed Joel? Like, that's got to
Yeah.
be mind boggling.
Yeah. She hasn't really mentioned that too much. You know, it's funny. Like we have this hyper sense of focusing on it because we're watching all this content and rethinking about it and reanalyzing it and stuff. But she's like, wait, what happened? You know, like if it wasn't for the you know, the what happened last week, she wouldn't remember everything. So it shows, you know, like I think for some people you got the one shot, you know, you got the one shot to get them hooked and to get them in the episode. I think this episode brings a lot of people back. But again, the finale has a lot of work to do to sell us on some of these other characters for next season. And everybody remembers the Glenn moment in The Walking Dead. That, you know, if this finale doesn't hit, I think people are going to remember episode 2 from this season and be like, yeah, I think I stopped the show after that.
I know of people who have already. So I hope the show can survive it. The story does deserve to keep going. Like it is a good story. You just if you open up an X-Men comic and you don't see a Wolverine or a Professor X, why are you reading? You know, it's if it's all about Jubilee, nobody cares. So it's kind of that situation right now. Which is rough.
It's gonna be tough, man. I just love Pedro. I think he got to like absolutely knock it out of the water on this one. And lucky thing is we get a lot more of him this year. He's already been in 3 movies, I want to say. There was like an A24 movie, but man, Fantastic Four. Oh, so excited about that too.
I'm so excited for that. And then Funko Pop, I didn't put the thing for it. It's like, this might be too much spoiler. I don't want to spoil it. But did you see the thing from Funko Pop where they spoiled something from the movie? All right, I won't say anything then.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was going to post it and I was like, no, that's too spoilery. I don't want to do that. It's not cool.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, I appreciate that. Dang Funko Pop. We see all the leaks from the toys and
oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. And from like McDonald's. They're always spoiling what the next new shit's gonna be. Yep.
All right, guys. So next up we have Pride and Prejudice, and we'll be covering that, which is gonna be fun. We're gonna have fun with that one.
We're gonna have some fun. Yeah.
I mean, we're done with Andor, but if you guys want to revisit Andor, we're gonna have the playlist available on Spotify where it'll be just the Andor reactions for all of season 2. Yeah. And then after the finale for The Last of Us, we're gonna have a playlist for The Last of Us season 1 and season 2 put together. So both those are on Spotify, guys. Check them out and join along with us and rewatch it. I mean, God, I miss Andor so much. Watching Rogue One again. Oh, so good.
It's so good. Perfect finale. Perfect. Like perfect prequel. When everybody says, you know, whatever prequel has ever been done right, I'm gonna point to Andor and be like, that thing, incredible, start to finish.
I gotta have more Cassian Andor somewhere. Somebody write some books, damn it, I'm in.
Yeah, I know. Seriously. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Aloha.